Good morning. I think I threatened you a couple of weeks ago with a story about civil engineering, which is what I'm going to do this morning. I love the Old Testament and I love the history books especially because they give us a real insight into people's personalities and natures. And I think history is important. I think that's something we're discovering in the world today. And I want to talk to you about a story that came to my notice just at the time that they were meeting under the English Channel at the breakthrough point of the what was to become the Channel Tunnel. And this is a story about another tunnel, a much smaller tunnel, but nonetheless one that was remarkable, especially in its own time. It's the Tunnel of Siloam, which was built, most people think, by King Hezekiah in the 8th century, early 8th century BC, and it blocked off the waters of the springs of Gihon and sent water down the west side of the city of David in East Jerusalem and into what's known as the Pool of Siloam. Not only did it add to irrigation or water supply to the city that was already there, but also it denied invading or sieging forces water, if they were camped out around the city walls. And it's something that does seem to have worked. And I like this story both as an engineer. I like the story about how the tunnel, you can tell from the pickaxe marks that it was built from either end, meeting in the middle, despite the fact it curves under the rock. And I like it because I'm a great admirer of King Hezekiah, who is one of the great kings of Israel, but he was not he's never been quite so highly thought of as, of course, David and Solomon and Hosea. But I do think he was a great king. He was fallible, he was honest, he cared for his people, he listened to God and the prophets. And his story comes out in its climax in around about 1 Kings 20, verse 20, and 2 Second Book of Chronicles, chapter 32, verses 30 to 32, which is the story about the conduit, the tunnel. And I just really admire this because of the precision work and it's a mystery how they managed it. And I really do admire precision, even though I seem to be incapable of it myself. The person I bought property from here in Dulverton, Brett Wright, I admire him. He's a woodworker and precision engineer in wood. Amazing talent and ability. And that's my thought for the day, really, that we should just read a bit more of the Old Testament, get a bit more involved in the stories, because they do create wonder in how certain things were achieved, and they give an insight into the natures of the people. And I just want to read to you here from just those couple of verses from 2 Chronicles 30 to 32. This same Hezekiah closed the upper outlet of the waters of Gihon and directed them down to the west side of the city of David. Hezekiah prospered in all his works. So also in the matter of the envoys of the officials of Babylon, who had been sent to him to inquire about the sign that had been done in the land. God left him to himself in order to test him and to know all that was in his heart. Now the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and his good deeds are written in the vision of the prophet Isaiah, son of Amos, in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. Hezekiah slept with his ancestors and they buried him on the ascent to the tombs of the descendants of David. And all Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem did him honour at his death. His son Manasseh succeeded him. Rest in peace, King Hezekiah. Amen.